All right, I decided to whip out the Daniel Defense today. We're just going to verify the scope, that it's on point. We've got Winchester M193, 3180 feet per second. We've got Sig Sauer Marksman, 223 77 grain. This is a 55. The Winchester's a 55. This is a 77. This is a Hornady full metal jacket, boat tail, 55 grain. And this is my hunting round, which works really good. If you put it in the right spot, works excellent. Barnes, 70 grain, TSX, boat tail. And it's coming out at 2850. So this is the DDM4 V7, and it's got the Magpul bipod, Nikon Buckmaster 3-9 by 40, which is a very affordable scope. And it's got Magpul furniture with an authorized North American cat tourniquet strapped on it. So let's go check out the target. So I try to shoot regularly, and usually just for a quick outing, I'll take my rifle out, which is a 16.5 inch Daniel Defense barrel. It's a DD barrel, DD bolt carrier, DD bolt, DD upper, Palmetto State Armory lower, and a CMC trigger. It's like a 3-pound, 2-stage CMC trigger. And I just like to verify that the scope is dialed in, because when I need it, I want it to work. And I like to shoot a variety of ammo so I can see how it prints differently at 100 yards. So I know, I have an idea what's going to happen if I'm changing up ammo. What I found is that most 223 5.56 ammo prints pretty close, like within 5 or 6 inches is printing. So, you know, if you're shooting short ranges, like out to 100 yards, you still got a pretty decent torso shot. So let's check out the target here. Here we go. Another pizza box. Pizza boxes are great, man. So what I do is I put a right angle on the box, and I line up my scope hairs here on the right angle. And the scope may not be zeroed, but I'm looking for printing, the printing habit around this point of aim. So that's how we do it. And then if I feel that, you know, the scope needs to be zeroed a little bit, I'll zero it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot 5 rounds of each of those cartridges that I just showed you. And we've got an open background here behind the target with an uphill slope. It's essentially a hill behind me. I'm shooting uphill at like a 10-degree angle. So it's relatively safe. I can see everything around me right on. So I picked my rifle basically for the barrel. Like there's a handful of companies that make good barrels. Daniel Defense is one of them. And on a good day with good ammo, I can get 3 rounds into a dime-sized group at 100 yards. So that's like bench rest or prone shooting. So if everything's absolutely perfect, this barrel will shoot really good. Today, I'm not really expecting that. I'm expecting like 1 to 3 inches. The XM193 May print a little bit bigger than that. But we'll just have to see. But I think the takeaway is when you're you know, shopping for an AR, shop for something that has got a good barrel, you know. Build your rifle or pick the rifle for the barrel first. All right, Winchester white box target. So what we'll do is we'll shoot the group, and we'll go check the group. We'll mark the group, and then we'll shoot the next group with the next cartridge type. So we'll start out with the Winchester. We'll go Winchester, Hornady, Sig, Barnes, in that order. 5 rounds. And I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. Okay. Everything's loaded up good. Freaking love it. Right on. Rifle's on safe. Rifle's clear. And our cartridge is going out about 7 feet to about 4 o'clock. So we have an adjustable gas block on this, and I got it dialed in to, you know, as low as possible, out to about 500 rounds of shooting. After about 500 rounds, the rifle gets dirty enough that it's right on the edge of what the gas can do. So when you dial down your gas, the cleanliness of your rifle is going to affect how well it shoots. If the rifle's not wet, if it's dry, or if it's just not clean, it's got a lot of buildup, you'll start to see your rounds go from like 2 o'clock. You know, when it's dialed in and it's clean, they'll be coming out at like 2 o'clock. As it gets more dirty, it'll swing down to 4 or 5 o'clock. That's at least what I've observed. Let's go check out the group. So our target up there. Okay, so here it is. Winchester white box. XM 193. Right there. Wind. It's all right, 2 to 3 inches. Looks like something like that. That's good. That's good for white box. It could be better. My shooting could be better too. All right. So next up, Hornady 223 Remington, 55 grain full metal jacket boat tail. And I like Hornady. Their FMG shoots pretty darn good. Their 55 grain FMG shoots pretty darn good. I've never been able to find a heavy Hornady that shoots better than a Sierra. Like the Sierra open tip seems to be really good. That's a great load for target. That's what I've used. I've always used Sierra if I was reloading for precision. I've used Sierra. Now you may ask, why does my AR have a gas block on it, adjustable gas block? Well, one of the reasons is because Daniel Defense is overgassed. You know, it's kind of a mil-spec rifle, and the DDM4 was designed to just run. And so, you know, like when I first got it, I could run it a long time without cleaning it. But it was overgassed. It clearly had a good kick to it. For an AR, it had a pretty decent kick to it. And an overgassed rifle is going to wear out faster. It's not going to shoot as precise. All sorts of things. So I wanted to dial the gas down. So that's why I got the adjustable gas block. It's just a affordable adjustable gas block. All right, this is the Hornady. 55 grain. The Hornady, the small Hornady bullets were really good. Alrighty, here we go. Yeah. Rifle on safe. Chamber's clear. Okay, those Hornady are going down at 5 o'clock. So it's probably getting to be about cleaning time. Let's go check out the group. Okay, so this is the Hornady right in here. And I don't know which one of these is Hornady in here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all Winchester. There's 11. So I obviously shot an extra one here somewhere. But we'll sort this out later. But the Hornady's shooting about the same as the Winchester. And the printing is generally low and to the left. So still, it's pretty good. For a quick shooting with the AR, it's pretty good. And we'll sort this out later and check it out during the after action report. All right, we're gonna shoot the SIG next, SIG Sauer. And I sorted out that group, that Hornady group. Check back on the video, sorted out the group. And I loaded 6. So it's a six round group, that's okay. But we're loading 5 here. And those groups are printing right on top of each other. So I set up another point of impact to the right. It looks like everything's going to be falling to the left and low. So I set up another point of impact to the right. Just because It becomes very confusing when all the freaking rounds are printing one on top of another. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, this is a Sig Sauer. It's running the Sierra open tip match. Twang. Gotta love the twang, man. Nice. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Foggy glasses here. That'll happen. Right on. That felt good. Good breathing. Okay, let's go check it out. There's the hill right there. That is an excellent cardio workout. If you want to do a little bit of humping, just fill your pack. Go up to the top of that cinder cone. Oh yeah. Pretty intense. Doesn't look like much, but that'll make you breathe up there for sure. Okay, this is the Sierra, or the Sig OTM. Right here. So a little bit better group. You can see it's trying to group here pretty decently. Got a little bit of an outlier. Still low and to the left, about the same as what we see with the Hornady and the Win. Sig. So that's cool. That's definitely cool. And I think we're gonna draw in another target here, man, because I don't want to be printing my hunting grounds over the rest of it. So this would be for the barns. But you can see, you change ammo, change bullet weights, change a lot of stuff. And at 100 yards, all of your AR-15, you know, your 233, 5.56 ammo is pretty much printing the same way. So if you put this, transpose this over here, it's going to be right in here. So we're talking, you know, 3 inches, 3 to 4 inches, somewhere between 2 and 4 inches, all within the same apple size at 100 yards. You're shooting an apple at 100 yards, basically. So that's a very good running rifle. It's hitting the mark for sure. You know, it shoots on the spot for sure. Ah, yeah. Okay. So the Barnes is an all copper bullet, 2850 feet per second, and because it's all copper, it's light. It's not a lead core bullet. It's lighter, and it's a longer bullet. Because it's lighter, they got to have more copper in the bullet, so it's a longer bullet. It's running out at 2850 because they can't get it going any faster because it's a compressed load, slightly compressed load. The cartridge is totally full because the bullet is really long. It's going down in here quite a ways. So it's just kind of a specialty hunting round. And the Barnes is designed to drop its energy in the animal, in the deer. Okay, this is a really good deer load. If you're shooting for accuracy and you know you're gonna put the load exactly where you want it, it's a really good deer load. You're gonna stick it in the boiler, it'll do its job. So it flowers out. The copper is designed to flower open. It's like a cross pattern. The bullet's spinning, and it makes a hole in the deer that's really significant. I mean, really significant. So if you hit the deer in the shoulder meat, you're gonna ruin a lot of it. You're gonna tear up a lot of that shoulder meat. So it's designed to open up to about 1/2 inch when it hits the animal. And because it's copper, it's a specifically different design than anything else. Because it's anything else we're shooting today anyway. Because it's copper, it prints different too. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. Barnes Vortex. TSX, 70 grain. Yeah. Smells good. That second one, man, wasn't ready for that. God, I love the sound of it. I love the smell of it. Okay, on safe. Rifle's clear. Let's go check it out. One of the other reasons I like to do this shooting, rifle shooting at 100 yards or even 300, is, man, by the time you're done, you walk like a kilometer. It's a good way to get your heart rate up. All right. So this is the Barnes here. The TSX, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shooting about 1.5 inches or so. Just about 1.5 inches, maybe 1 3/4 inches. But you can see why I'm using that for hunting. So that's a good hunting round. The last deer I shot, put this right behind the shoulder. DRT dropped right there, man. I mean, he walked like maybe 10 steps, walked around a circle, maybe like 10 steps, laid down. That was it. So I'm loving this for deer. It's great. So up here is the SIG, the Win, and the Hornady. All right. So you can see the scope is printing low and to the left. And that's, that's why I come out here. That's why I come out here. I like to come out here, see what's going on. The scope changes, with temperature and all sorts of stuff. It's my truck gun, so it's constantly getting rattled around all over the place. So what we're looking at is like 3 inches down and about 3 inches to the left with the white box. Actually, the white box is right about there. So it's 2 inches down and about 3 inches to the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust that. Going to make the scope adjustment, and then we'll come back here and shoot for this right here. Actually, I drew in another point of aim here just because I want it to be clean. So we're going to go up to and over 3. All right. It's just a simple hunting scope. It's got a ballistic drop reticle. It's got these closed caps. That's all I wanted. Didn't want to get too sophisticated with it. All right. So right's counterclockwise. We want it to go right. 3 counterclockwise. And it's basically 1/4 inch per increment. You got 100 yards. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. That's right. And we're going to go up to, same thing, 1/4 inch increment at 100 yards. 1, 2. All right, and then we'll see how we do. All right, so back to the economy round here. We shoot 5 Winchester. Winchester white box, M193. And this is an affordable scope, so I've noticed that floats a little bit, changes a little bit with temperature. If I haven't used the rifle, or the rifle's been in the truck for 3-4 months, the point of impact might be off a little bit. But another thing I've noticed is sometimes it takes a minute to settle in on the adjustment. So we'll shoot 5 and see how she's doing. Then we might make another adjustment. Oh man. Right on. Safety's on. Rifle's clear. Let's go check it out. Okay, here we are. This is the win with the scope adjustment here. There we go. So our center is right about here. We're going to put a mark next to each one of these. We're not going to change anything. I just want to shoot 5 more, bring it up to 10 count before I make another adjustment. Just put a W there. But you can see the rifle system is doing very consistently. The rifle shooter system is doing very consistently. I'm getting into, you know, the 2 to 3 inch range here with the variety ammo, and everything is working like you would think. Everything is printing consistently. The adjustments are pretty consistent here. So it may be that I've gone a little bit too far to the right on this, but we'll shoot 5 more and see what happens. All righty. See what we got here. Five and 5. So that's just enough to close up the day. We're going to shoot that second set of 5 without making any changes in the scope. See how it prints. You know, 10 shots is giving you a lot better statistical information than 5. And we might make one final adjustment at the end there. So the reason I'm doing this with the white box is because that's usually what's in the gun. You know, if I'm just, you know, civilian defender, then I'm not really worried. You know, I want to be dialed in for the white box. And what we've seen is that all the other stuff is pretty much going to hit the same spot within about 1 to 2 inches. It's going to be about the same spot. It's a beautiful thing about the AR. So you can change your 223 ammo, and it's still going to do approximately the same thing at 100 yards. 100 yards is a long way away, man. You know, if you're taking down the Walmart shooter, you're not going to need much more than 100 yards. Oh, that feels good. All righty. Oh, yeah. Feels good. Can't really see what's going on up there at 9 power. Rifle's on safe. Chamber's clear. Let's go check it out. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of stringing from left to right, like this. Just like that. See that? Same thing though. Our elevation is pretty good, but we're off to the right just a little bit. So we're going to dial this back to the left 1 inch. All right. And since we're shooting on the mark, we're just going to put in another point of impact right here. Remember, what I'm shooting for is that corner right there. So it doesn't have to be pretty. So we're going back to the left 1 inch. All right. So, you know, I'm zeroing the rifle at 100 yards because it's getting to be, it's going to be hunting season. And 100 yards is a good distance for that. There's many other times where I use a 36-yard zero. I like that a lot. So 36-yard zero will put you in the boiler within about 8 inches from 0 to 300 yards. The 100-yard zero is still pretty decent. I mean, that's a good engagement distance for the AR. And it's certainly great for hunting. It's a great hunting distance for the AR. And the other thing is that shooting at 100 yards really kind of allows you to understand the groups a little bit better. They spread out a little bit more and you can see what's going on a little bit better. 36-yard zero is more of a battlefield zero. You don't have the distance. Or you're at a short distance shooting range. But I like this 100 yards. It's more of a challenge with the optic, the shooting. All right, here we go. Winchester white box, last 5 rounds. Oh yeah. Got to remember to make the adjustment. Okay, we want to go left 1 inch. All right, so we're going to dial back 1 inch here. Right there. Okay. Feels good. Last 5 rounds. Make it count. Watch your eyes. This trigger feels really good. Right on. Right on. Safety's on, chamber's clear. Let's go check it out. That was it. Close it up. All right, can't complain about that, man. Here we go. Here we go. So if this is a flyer, then we're right on the money here. And I'm gonna leave the scope exactly where it's at. You got like 4 rounds that are doing this. You got one that's way over here doing something else. That's gonna be a good stopping point for me. So that's good enough, man. For what I do. You know, this is not this DDM4 is not a bench rest precision weapon, but look at this. That's pretty epic. 1.5 inches right in here with Winchester white box, and the Nikon scope is working really well too. Winchester 193. You can see the system is just operating great. When I load the Sierra Match King 77 grain and I've got it dialed in on a good node, my favorite powder, okay, I'm telling you, man, you can get within a dime or a nickel from a bench rest. The Sierra Match King's killer. So this is what's going on here. The SIG is looking pretty good. It's got a flyer. The SIG's looking pretty good. The Barnes TSX is looking good. So, and the Winchester for a bulk ammo, man, that's freaking great. I am really happy with the Winchester white box, man. 193. All right, so I'm going to review the footage and then we'll take a hike. Okay, so my other sling is in the wash, but I got this affordable CV Life sling for like $9. It's good webbing. Feels good. It's tubular webbing. See that? Feels good. Comes with the buckles. It's got a quick adjust system I'm not going to use, but this works really good as a tie-off point for the forward position. So I'm gonna show you what I've been thinking about for a knot, a good sling knot. I've just been thinking about a knot that can be tied and then untied relatively easily. There we go. All right. So you put an overhand knot in this. All right. Bring it through like this. All right, just bear with me here because I'm having practiced this ahead of time. All right. And you know, where you put this and you know, all that kind of stuff is kind of depending on how much you practice. You know, you take this stuff out, you go practice it. All right. So I shorten this up a little bit like that. Okay. So basically have like an overhand slip knot, right? And so this can cinch. Then if I take run this through here like that and put a figure 8 on this side and cinch this down, it's going to grab that figure 8 and I'm going to have a loop. But this will still run. And this is just an overhand knot. So you could, because it's a slip, you could uncinch it and disconnect it. That's what I'm thinking. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. So we'll put this through here. Bring this through here like that, right? And then pull your cinch. See that? Pull your cinch, pull your overhand, and just even this up. See that? So your overhand's up there nice and tight. And you pulled your cinch. Then just go around. Do your figure 8. Dress it up nice and clean. Get that nice and tight on there. All right. There you go. So if you want to untie it, this might be a little bit difficult to demonstrate. Well, you could just undo your figure 8, of course. But your cinch, I know this is kind of a mess. See that? I've loosened my cinch up. Now I can pull that free and take the sling off. And put it back on. Just pull it over like that. Tighten up the cinch. Man, I think that's worth testing out for a while. Right on. Okay, time for a hike. Okay, here we go. It's pretty dope. Seems to be holding good. Got it right across my chest where I like it. Right on. So that's the exercise. I want to go out, I want to use the rifle. I don't necessarily want to have to shoot a lot of rounds. I mean, this is the times of austerity, right? So I want to make sure my scope is operating properly. I want to practice my breathing. Practice my battery of arms or manual of arms. I want to practice with, my trigger finger. I want to practice my shooting. I want to remember how my trigger is operating. I want to check the rifle to make sure it's working good. Figure out where it's at on the cleaning cycle. See if I need to clean it, so I watch where my brass is landing. Maybe I want to test some rounds. See how different cartridges are printing when compared to each other. Want to remember what it's like looking through my scope, you know. So I just want my rifle to continue to be an extension of me, and I don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money or a lot of rounds. So best thing I know to do is to go out and shoot prone, set up a quick target at 100 yards, and load some ammo, shoot some ammo, and do some comparisons. And just evaluate how the whole system's working, myself and the rifle, based on where I'm printing on the target. And like we saw today, the scope needed a little bit of adjusting. It's, you know, usually I like to go out frequently. I like to shoot, you know, once a week. But I've been doing a lot of shotgun shooting. Haven't shot the rifle in like 3-4 months. So it was time for me to get back and just make sure it's dialed in, make sure I'm dialed in, so that if I need to use it, it's very familiar to me. So, you know, the other thing is you get a decent workout, you do some hiking around, setting up the target, going and checking the impact points, and so that's good too. It's a way to just get the heart rate moving, get out in the environment, get some exposure to the earth, get away from the city. I mean, I'm not in the city very much anyway, but this is working out pretty good. This is real comfortable. It's not really hitting my hip. It's not really hitting my hip down here. It's right across my chest. This is just a carry position. I got it in front of me. I wouldn't be able to just swing this from the sling into a shooting position. I have to take it off to shoot it. But right now, you know, traditionally the sling is just for carrying the rifle. You're not necessarily going to be slinged when you shoot it. So this is pretty good. I like this. My other sling is like a Magpul quick adjust, and I've got that set up so I can actually shoot with the sling on me. But it got some freaking chemicals on it, so I'm going to send it through the wash. I wanted to have a second sling set up just for redundancy. And this quick release knot is working pretty good. It's not exactly quick release, but it seems to be working pretty good. So I'm shooting today, I'm shooting like between 1 and 3 inches, which is fine. Haven't been behind the scope for like 3-4 months. I'm not shooting like high precision reloads, but for civilian purposes, for militia purposes or defensive purposes or hunting, that's good. Barnes is printing at like 1.25 inches or something, so that's good for hunting. That's just fine. And the rifle needs to be cleaned. As I took a look at it, you know, every rifle's different, and especially if you've got adjustable gas, the personality of the rifle is very much so dependent on the gas. The AR, we're talking about direct impingement AR. A DIAR, the personality is like 80% dependent on the gas. So when it's clean, I've got it dialed in. When it's clean, The brass comes out around 2 o'clock. When it gets dirty, starts to show, starts to land at about 4 or 5 o'clock. And by the time we got done with those 35, 40 rounds, it was solidly landing at 5 o'clock, 5:30, which is that's pretty much the limits of where it's going to start to have problems. Like if I shot another 100 rounds or so, the rifle would start having ejection problems. So when you put a gas block on your rifle like that and you dial down the gas, you're actually lowering the reliability of your rifle, because there's less force running the rifle. There's less gas force running the rifle. So I've got it that way because I wanted to dial it in, get it calm. And I'm very intimately knowledgeable about my rifle, and I shoot it a lot. So I'm a shooter. That's what I do. It's a big part of my enjoyment. It's kind of like one of my hobbies. So I have a good feeling as to where my firearms are at all the time, because I'm going out and I'm shooting with them. Shot like 150 rounds through my 9mm the other day, about 2 weeks ago. And that one I just clean every outing. I just keep it clean. It's a race gun. It gets real dirty. And so I clean it, because as it gets dirty, it stops functioning. It's got a gas piston in it. It's a gas piston operated gun. And so the feed ramp and the operating piston and the spring and all that kind of stuff, if it gets too dirty, it stops functioning after about 1 to 200 rounds. This AR will go like 500-600 rounds before it stops functioning. So that's just something I have to know. Yeah, it's a comfortable shooter. It's a low gas. You got the gas dialed down as low as reasonable. But I also need to be aware of where it's at, how often I need to clean it. If this AR went into like real live scenario, if I was using it on a regular basis, I'd be cleaning it all the time. I'd be cleaning it like every day. But for right now, it's just good enough for me to just monitor the brass, the ejection pattern. And now I know I got a cleaning event coming up. So, which I love. I love to clean. Put on a good movie and do some cleaning. So this DD I've had for a long time, like 7 years now. And it's got probably about 5,000-6,000 rounds through it. It's not like, those aren't like military numbers or law enforcement numbers or anything like that. That's just civilian shooting. But those are the kind of numbers you want to have, to be really familiar with your firearm. Is you want to be shooting weekly is good. Going out on the weekend to shoot, that's a good schedule. And politics aside, Daniel Defense has said some things about the Second Amendment and gun control and stuff that have been really unpopular, and I don't agree with that at all. But I bought the rifle before they came out with that crap. DD they basically have a military class manufacturing operation, and they've made AR variants for use in the field, and they make precision rifles, and they make good barrels, cold hammer forged barrels. So this barrel is good. Like bench rest shooting, I can shoot a dime with 3 rounds with the right stuff, like a good Sierra Match King load. I can shoot a dime with 3 rounds. Pretty good. Like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. You know, like on a day where I'm shooting a whole bunch, I'll range between like 1/2 inch 3-round groups to 1.25 inch 3-round groups from a bench rest. So with bags and stuff like that. So I'm really happy with Daniel Defense. But you know, there's a whole bunch of different barrels out there that you can get. I mean, for me, the rifle's all about the barrel. You know, you choose your barrel, you build your rifle around your barrel. The AR is a big piece of American history, you know. It's the most widely developed firearms platform in history. I mean, you know, you could say something similar about the AK, but the AR has been widely developed by the private sector, the American private sector, as well as the military. And so as far as all the accoutrements, design features, trigger packs, optics, barrel technology, all that kind of stuff, by far the AR is the most widely developed rifle platform in the history of mankind. And it's easy to clean. It operates very reliably, within reason. It's light. You can carry a lot of rounds. The rounds are light. You know, a big part of the AR is what it's shooting. So if you're shooting 5.56, 223, you can carry a lot of rounds. And it's a small round. They say it doesn't have much stopping power, but the AR is designed to hit the mark. So it's kind of a balance between, you know, hitting the mark with an extremely fast bullet and carrying a lot of ammo on you so that you have fire superiority. So if you're trying to establish fire superiority, or you want lots of follow-up shots, you want to be able to carry a lot of ammo within a relatively lightweight package. There's nothing better than the AR-15. The other thing is that, you know, in the United States, this is all within the framework of being inside the United States. The other thing is that parts availability is out of control. I mean, I can literally go into town and get any part I need for my AR at a number of different places. With the standardized AR platform, like this mil-spec AR platform, bolts, bolt carriers, firing pins, you know, roll pins, springs, detents, all that kind of stuff, furniture, barrels, they're all swappable. So it's the most swappable firearm too. It's the Minuteman rifle. It's what we've arrived at. It's what the American public has arrived at as the primary rifle of choice for any kind of quick response, Minuteman, militia, home defense activities. Another way to say it is it's the pinnacle of the utility rifle. You know, if you need something lightweight that you can carry, you want to move fast, and you want to be able to carry something you don't really feel the weight, the AR is a really good utility rifle. It'll pretty much it'll do anything you want it to, as long as you hit the mark. You know, it's not really a spray and pray kind of rifle. You've got to use it. You've got to look through it. You've got to hit your mark. You've got to aim. You've got to be determined to hit your mark. So I like it. I've carried 308s before. I've carried heavier rifles that shoot 5.56. But as far as having firepower, which is number of rounds, and precision, having a precision instrument that I can rely on, that operates for a long, long time without, problems. Getting an AR from a reputable manufacturer, there's really no other, if you're buying for utility, if you're buying for practicality, you're going for first kind of cool. You're going for a rifle that is, pretty much not going to fail you. It's got very few moving parts. It's driven by gas tube. There's kind of like no way to get around it. There's cooler rifles. Man, the AK is an old platform. AK-47 is an old platform. It's been developed. Now they have an AK-108, AK-74, all those kind of. The Chinese and the Russians have got brand new fancy AKs now. But it's heavier. Shoots a bigger round. Shoots a heavier round. You carry less of it. If you're going to be an American Ranger style, like out on your feet, doing mobility activities, if you're going to be, hiking 10 miles a day, 20 miles a day, like this rifle, it's light. You just don't, I don't feel it. I could carry this and, 6 mags. I actually carry 3 usually. Like my loadout is 3 mags. There's a reason for that. So I'm not planning on going into battle. I'm going to be standing a post or, shooting from a distance, shooting scoot. I'm not going to be in any kind of like pitched battle situations. I'm not trying to carry 8 or 10 magazines with me. But if things did get crazy here in the United States, I would easily, up my mag number to probably 8. Probably carry 8. But when I just go like scouting, I'm just out doing like on foot ranger activities, practicing skills, stuff like that. I carry 3 mags. That's enough to get yourself out of trouble. That's the whole idea behind being a Minuteman or militiaman dude, is lived to fight another day, right? So my weapons are primarily there to get me out of trouble so I can, eat dinner at night, see my family, and be prepared for the next day. You're not any good if you're dead. It's really important to remember. And if you're a civilian guy like me, you fit in a specific role, which is kind of a asymmetrical, covert, shoot and scoot kind of role. You're not going up against, you're not going to be standing face to face. In most situations, regular civilians are going to avoid that kind of confrontation. So it is the quintessential utility rifle, the AR-15. And I owned a POF 308. It was the light one, the one that was like 6.8 pounds. Didn't work very well. Put like 4,000 rounds through it. Sent it back twice to POF to get repaired and all this kind of stuff. They haven't figured out their kinks yet, but that was a nice 308. The problem with the lightweight 308 is it kicks. It's very snappy. It's violent. This AR is like got featherweight recoil. Very important to keep that in mind. Not only is it the quintessential utility rifle, but it shoots like a 20, it shoots like a 22, really. If you dial the gas down, it shoots extremely light. What that means is follow-up shots are going to be more accurate. You're going to have a better likelihood of landing your follow-up shot with a light, low recoiling rifle. So it's a precision instrument, I mean, it's not, out to about 300 yards. I like it out to about 300 yards. 300 yards is a long way. You're trying to shoot something at 300 yards, man. You're gonna be, it's gonna be a challenge. I do it, but it's challenging. Moving targets at 300 yards, that's crazy. That's more of a fire superiority type situation where you're just trying to lay down fire as a defensive measure. But hitting your mark out to 300 yards, like hitting a moving target at 300 yards, you're probably going to shoot off 5, 6, 7 rounds or something in a controlled situation to try and hit a moving target at 300 yards. The AR can do it, you know. So it's proven. I think it's proven by the numbers. Like you don't really need anybody to tell you that this is the quintessential utility rifle. You just go look at the numbers. Look at how many are owned. Look at all the different companies that make them. Look at how long it's been operational in military and police service. I mean, the police especially. The AR is the go-to firearm for civilian policing, cops on patrol, you know. See, citizens on patrol. COP. So that says a lot. You know, police officer needs to deal with a situation in a neighborhood or at a school, God forbid at a school, or, you know, at a shopping center or something crazy like that. Dude's going to have his AR because he knows he's probably not going to have to shoot more than about 100 yards. You know, most police marksmen that are, you know, snipers, police snipers, most of those guys are shooting within 100 yards. You know, across the street, from building to building, you know, something like that. So for a civilian firearm, for a hunting rifle, it's great. But you can't be one of those hunters that just doesn't know his animal and only goes out once a year for a couple days and just takes whatever shot he takes. You know, the AR is not going to work. If you hit the animal at the wrong angle, you're going to wound it. It's going to run off. It's going to die slowly. It's going to be very painful. But if you put a good round in it, and you're the kind of person who's out to make the right shot and is willing to pass on the animal if it's not the right shot, the AR will work all day long, man. It's not difficult to take down a deer or an elk if you hit it in the boiler with like a 70 grain TSX. It's going to go right through it. It's going to cut up all the meat, and the animal is going to, it's going to be lung hit and heart hit at the same time. That's what I mean. That's the perfect shot. It's going to be a flank shot, side shot, right behind the shoulder, and it's going to go right through the lungs and the heart. There's no coming back from that. It really isn't. So the AR works good for that. Works good for small game too. Would I use it against a charging animal like a bear? No. No, it's not a bear rifle. I'm not really in a situation where I'm worried about bears too much. I've got a 9mm for that, shotgun, slugs. You know, if you're in bear country, you're going to carry like a 10mm Glock or a 45-70. Thank you very much. Yeah, if I'm in bear country, I'll probably carry like a 357 or a 10mm Glock on my hip and a 45-70. But for civilian purposes, for self-defense, for, you know, human interactions, God forbid, the AR is an excellent t-shirt rifle. You know, if you're dealing with people who are coming after you, trying to make trouble with you, and they're wearing t-shirts and blue jeans, the AR all day long. You know, level 4 body armor, different story. But our country's well armed with the AR, with shotguns, with 9mm, with all sorts of other stuff. But your basic three, it's a 12 gauge, a 9mm, and a 5.56 AR-15. Our country's well armed. That's nobody wants to have to deal with that you know. And the ammo's cheap. 12 gauge 9mm 5.56 223, very affordable. I mean, it's less affordable than it used to be, but anybody can stock up, you know, 1,000 rounds of ammo at home without spending too much money. So that's it. This isn't really a second kind of cool rifle. I bought this because I needed I needed to build a militia loadout. You know, as a United States citizen, I'm automatically a member of the militia. If you understand the law behind the militia, there's some well-established congressional acts about the militia. As a tribe of Americans, the AR is the firearm to have because everybody else is using it too. You know, your AR goes down, there's a chance somebody else can help you out. They've got that part. If you got to pick, if you don't have a rifle, you got to pick up a rifle and start shooting. And you've practiced, you've raised yourself up on the AR. It's going to be second nature, you know. So that's why I have it. I chose Daniel Defense because they're proven. They've got great barrels. You know, you can go with, dude, there's so many other barrel companies that make good barrels. White Oak Armament, Criterion Arms, there's Faxon Firearms. There's a lot of companies that make good barrels. Okay, so I just had to do a little cutaway here because I'm a little embarrassed. Ballistic Advantage, okay? I don't know why I couldn't remember them yesterday, but Ballistic Advantage is actually the barrel company that when I was building ARs, I used Ballistic Advantage. They had the best value barrels and they had a 1 MOA guarantee. There's better, but if you just want to build a good AR out to 300 yards, Ballistic Advantage makes awesome barrels, really great barrels. They're sexy too. So yeah, and then the other one is Anderson Manufacturing. So I used Anderson Manufacturing for parts kits, for uppers and lower receivers. And yeah, Aero Precision, man, is probably a little bit better, you know, but Anderson's a cool company. And so, you know, keep those guys in mind too. I really appreciate what they do. All right, that's it. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. So do your barrel research. If you're thinking about getting into an AR, I would highly suggest you build one. It's pretty much like Legos. It might be a little bit intimidating at first, but you get a barrel, you get some headspace gauges, you get some basic armory tools, a vise in your shop, you know, AR wrench, and you can build an AR, man. It's in a lot of respects, it's easier than Legos, and there's so much information out there. There's a massive library of information out there on how to do it. So you buy your barrel, and you know what would I do if I had to just build an AR tomorrow? I'd get my barrel, probably, I don't know, let's just say I go a Criterion. They're the ones that come off the top of my head. Get a Criterion barrel. I'd go get an Aero Precision upper and lower receiver, like plain upper and lower receiver. I'd get a parts kit from Aero. You know, it's just since I can't remember anybody else right now. I get a drop-in trigger like CMC or Geisley. You know, I like to Chip McCormick trigger. It's kind of like best value. You get a good trigger for the least amount of money. And get some Magpul furniture and some tools, and I put it together. Like you can go to Palmetto State Armory and get an upper and lower on sale. You know, if you got 6 months to watch the sales, you can go to PSA, get an upper and lower for like, I don't know, $500. There are some companies that are putting out ARs. I've seen deals like $399 deals. So, but here's the thing. For $500, for $399, you're not going to be getting like a precision crafted barrel. You're going to be getting a barrel that's going to shoot, you know, less consistently with a shorter range of ammo. And it might be, you know, it might be 4-inch groups, 5-inch groups. If you want to be in that 0.5 to 2-inch range, you know, you spend some money on a barrel. You know, sometimes you can get good barrels for $150, you know, $220, something like that. But anybody, you know, with an IQ of 105 can figure out how to build an AR. So, thanks for coming along with me. I highly recommend, you know, this video is primarily for people who are just getting into it. I know a lot of you guys who are more experienced, you know, this is like, you know, speaking to the choir stuff, you know. But if you're just getting into it, do your research, get an AR, get the parts, put them together, get yourself an affordable scope, you know, spend a couple $100 on a reliable hunting scope, you know. Thing to keep in mind is that the guys that won the revolution were deer hunters and farmers. You know, they were pioneers, outdoorsmen, deer hunters, and farmers. So, you know, you don't have to, I mean, look at the Taliban, man. 50,000 Taliban beat the Russians and Washington, D.C. I won't say they beat the Americans, but they beat Washington, D.C. for sure. So, get yourself a basic AR, set up a $500 AR, $200 scope, and, you know, $200-$300 worth of ammo. That'll get you going. That'll keep you busy for a year, just practicing. You know, you set up a pizza box, draw yourself a target, and start shooting. So anyway, thanks for joining me. I really, you know, I do this filming because it's good therapy for me. It's an opportunity to get out. It's an opportunity to kind of like use my voice and maybe help some people out and test my own skills and do my own learning. So the videoing is great therapy. It's a good way for me to just settle myself. You know, shooting is a very calming activity for me. You know, when I'm shooting when I'm in the prone position and I'm doing the breathing exercises and I'm shooting for good precision, and I smell that gunpowder, and I'm feeling the rifle move in my arms, and then I'm hearing the bang and the twang. It's just really, really good therapy. So that's why I do it. And if this has been useful, that's great. I hope so. I encourage you, if you're an American, I encourage you to be armed, be intelligent, be trained, be capable, be armed, because the United States is the last bastion of freedom. You know, the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, are powerful Enlightenment freedom documents, the best freedom documents probably that have ever been written. And it means freedom for the individual. It means sovereign freedom for the individual, limited government. It means you determine the course of your life, that we're not slaves, that we're only owned by our Creator, and we don't have to bend to any other person. That's very important freedom, and it's the kind of freedom that I think the rest of the world wants to experience too. And with the way governments are right now, We're looking at feudalism worldwide. We're looking at like pretty heavy duty feudalism, you know, corporate, private, public partnerships. That's fascism. You know, whenever you hear that private public partnership, that basically means that the government and the businesses are coming together to exercise control over the population. That's not what the founders envisioned, and that's not what all of our citizens have shed blood for since the beginning. So I encourage all of you guys and gals to be armed, be smart about it, get trained, be capable, practice, and because it's not just about you being armed. It's about every blade of grass. It's about us as a nation, as a tribe, a free tribe, taking a stand and saying that no, people need to be left alone to be free. And without a stick, you know, that's why the whole globe is practically disarmed. You know, that's pretty good data, pretty good statistics on that. Governments, criminals, they're armed, right? The governments and the criminals are armed. So why is it that both of those parties don't want free people to be armed? You know, you gotta, you know, it's real good common sense, well-established common sense since the beginning. So do it. You know, when some extra money comes in, do it. Take up the hobby. You know, being armed and untrained and unpracticed is okay, but it's kind of foolish. You should do it. Take it up as a hobby so that you're going to the range, you're going out into the wilderness. Maybe you're doing some hunting, something like that. Because you want your firearm to be an extension of who you are. You want to be that comfortable with it so that when it comes time to use it and the adrenaline's running and all the chemicals are pouring out of your head and things are crazy and you got tunnel vision, you have that training because you're going to fall back on that training. So that's it. Thanks for joining me. This is the Owl. God bless America. I'm very thankful for my fellow patriots who are aligned and of one mind and unified for the protection and defense of freedom for all of us, for our posterity, for our children and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. So God bless you. I love you. Sic semper tyrannis. This is the Owl signing off.